What a year it's been. When a handful of people got together in Asheville a week after the election, we didn't know thousands of people all over the country were doing the same thing, some right in our own backyard. We didn't know soon we'd be pouring into the streets by the millions, right here in Asheville and around the country and all over the world. We only knew we had to do something. We feared our government no longer represented us. We feared our democracy was under attack. Within a month, we were 50 members strong and digging into issues when an online Google Doc appeared. The Indivisible Guide showed us how to work with our elected representatives, to hold them accountable and make our voices heard. By then, we had a name and a game plan. And after the historic Women's March, we also had something else. We knew by then we were part of a larger movement. We knew we had a lot to do, but we also knew we would do whatever it takes to fight for women's rights, for the environment, for healthcare, for dreamers. We knew we would fight against threats to our democracy, against racism, gun violence, economic injustice, voter suppression. We knew we were part of a bigger change, and with that, Indivisible Asheville was off the ground. What have we done this first year? A lot. Starting with a rally to protect the Affordable Care Act, co-hosted with Our Revolution. We collected personal stories and spoke out against repealing the ACA, sending our senators and reps in Washington a clear message. We also started working with other groups across the state, and a new network got off the ground early in the year, with Indivisible affiliated groups connecting from all over North Carolina. In March, we took part in our first statewide action, the Russian Ties Postcard Campaign. This coordinated effort led to over 8,000 cards from across the state getting mailed to Senator Burr at the same time. Since then, the state Indivisible Network has held 2 other statewide actions. A 4-day Get Out the Vote drive in support of the Virginia special election, with individuals signing up for online phone bank and text banking to help our neighbors to the north, and a rapid response tax scam action where we joined with 4 other groups in western North Carolina, in Catawba, Madison, McDowell, and Buncombe counties for a 3-day series of protests in Asheville, Hickory, and Black Mountain. Meanwhile, the network has continued to grow, and we now have 112 member groups working together around the state. In May, leaders from over 50 groups got together and established the Indivisible's NC Steering Committee, which we call the Coordinated Action Team, or CAT, with 13 representatives and 13 alternates from member groups in each of our 13 congressional districts. Last year, we also got serious about training. In April, we hosted a 3-hour intensive advocacy workshop led by the Director of Global Grassroots Advocacy for the nonprofit organization Results. We learned that it's our job as citizens to educate our elected representatives, and we learned the best ways of doing this using a simple formula, which we adopted for creating our own action sheets on issues. It worked so well, we were asked to give a letter-writing workshop a few months later for the North Buncombe Democratic Party cluster meeting. Meanwhile, our environment team had been busy planning a local People's Climate March and rally in support of the National Climate March in D.C. at the end of April. Nearly 1,500 people turned out in Asheville to protest the serious environmental threats posed by the new administration. In May, we partnered with Indivisible Hendersonville to hold a Missing Mark Meadows town hall, focused on healthcare, immigration rights, and the environment, with a small but energized crowd sending a clear message to the congressman who chose not to attend. In June, our Congress Watch team brought several hundred people to Pack Square in conjunction with hundreds of other sister rallies across the country and the National March for Truth in Washington, D.C. Later that month, we kicked off Beer and Politics, our informal letter-writing drop-ins, to give people an easy and fun way to keep our concerns in front of our representatives. We also participated in the Rally for 23 Million in downtown Asheville, hosting a letter and card writing station with fact sheets and pre-addressed envelopes and cards to speak out against Congress's attempts to take away healthcare from 23 million people. At the end of the month, our healthcare team held an educational symposium on single-payer healthcare, featuring the Chair of Physicians for a National Health Program and the Chair of Healthcare Justice NC, along with a panel discussion that included Western North Carolina physicians and patients. In July, the healthcare team presented a screening of the powerful documentary film Fix It, which makes a strong case for a single-payer healthcare system. And in August, we learned that IndivisibleAVL had won first place in the annual Best of WNC Awards. Congratulations to all the members and activists who made this possible. Then, finally, Congressman Mark Meadows showed up for a real town hall. Although the event was tightly scripted, hundreds of protesters outnumbered supporters, and Meadows had to see and hear the objections of the people that he represents. Later in August, our immigration team produced an educational symposium on the immigrant justice movement, featuring nationally known legal expert and human rights advocate Advaita Shashahani and local community organizer Alan Ramirez, who works with families caught up in the criminalization and deportation system. In September, we welcomed our first intern, a high school junior who chose her service project in line with her goals: to protect the environment and eventually to serve in the United States Senate. Her project was focused on helping us plan and produce our next event, a screening of the documentary film Tomorrow, followed by idea incubators focused on some of the key topics featured in the film: agriculture, energy, economy, democracy, and education. In our most recent statewide action, we've joined with other groups throughout the state and with people all over the country, getting ready for coordinated protests in case the president fires special counsel Robert Mueller. IndivisibleAVL already has over 600 people signed up and ready to spring into action. If you haven't signed up yet, go to IndivisibleAVL.org. Nobody is above the law. As we shift into 2018, our mission remains the same: to defend and strengthen our democracy. But our vision is more specific. In this crucial election year, we'll be working on proactive efforts around both legislation and candidates, working with the statewide Indivisible network and partnering with other organizations to get out the vote, learn about issues, work with candidates on important issues, bring candidates and their messages to the public, study the opposition positions on issues, work in flippable state districts, especially in Western North Carolina, to flip NC, protect a fair judiciary, put out regular news and information, step back and look at the big picture, and grow and diversify our group and our coalitions. How well we're able to do all this, well, depends on you. If you'd like to get more involved, consider joining our communications team. We need writers to help with newsletters, weekly alerts, website updates, media relations, email, and social media. We also need people to help with monthly meetings and special events, and to research actions and help coordinate our informal, bi-monthly drop-ins. Or consider helping with these important state or congressional projects. And if you aren't yet on our mailing list, be sure to sign up now. In November of 2016, we had no idea where we'd be today, with activists organized all over the country and record numbers of people running for office. Despite the challenges, a meeting has become part of a movement, and a resistance has turned into building something new. So join us. We're looking forward to powerful and indivisible success in 2018.